Hi, welcome to the Catholic Corner. I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. My guest today is Angela Dodson. Angela has worked in the communications field for over 35 years. She served as the editor at the New York Times, an editor consultant for publishers and many self-published authors on both fiction and nonfiction, books on faith, books on history. She has contributed in-depth articles to publications including our own diocesan newspaper, The Monitor. Angela is probably best known in our own diocese as the host of a long-running radio talk show, Black Catholics Yes. She has hosted the program for the past 12 years. Angela is proud to be both Black and Catholic, was recently presented with the Outstanding African American Catholic Award for the Diocese of Trenton, presented at the National Black Catholic Congress in Indianapolis. Angela is no stranger to awards. In 2007, she was presented with the Nostrum Ecclesiam Tempus, Our Time to be Church, by our bishop at that time of Trenton, Bishop John Smith. Angela has been married to her husband, Michael Days, who is also a writer. He writes for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and he's been doing that for 30 years. They are the parents of 4 adopted children, 2 with special needs. They are active members at their parish, Blessed Sacrament, Our Lady of Divine Shepherd in Trenton. Angela is a member of the Gospel Choir, a reader, and a parish council representative. So you can see that Angela has a beautiful, beautiful background, blessed by God with so many gifts, but a woman who loves to share and loves to be a part of the gift of giving back in her own way. Angela, welcome to the Catholic Corner.
Thank you.
Boy, that was a long introduction there. You've got a beautiful, beautiful background and a beautiful life.
Okay.
Let's start with the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they tell me you weren't raised Catholic.
Right.
But what made you want to be part of the Catholic faith?
I was raised Baptist, first of all, and from a very Baptist family. I come from a family that has produced many, many prominent Baptist ministers.
Terrific.
My parents were trustees of the church and Sunday school teachers, that sort of thing. But I married a Catholic. And after 10 years of being married, I had peppered him with every question I could think of about the Catholic faith. Why are they burning incense now? Why are they doing that? Why are they bowing? What's that mean? And then finally I had time to take the confirmation classes and went through with it. So. And I should say that my husband is with the Philadelphia Daily News, and he's the editor there. He has briefly been with the Inquirer, but he's back at the Daily News.
With the Daily News, and that's for 30 years. I mean, he's been in the business like that for 30 years or so.
Yes.
Wow. I read newspapers, right. And I really enjoy the folks that put their time in and their honesty in, and it's a great gift to share with us. Yeah. So you were attracted to the Catholic faith through your husband,
right?
And the fact that he had all the answers, or at least he could point you to the right directions.
He had very good answers, and as I told you before we went on the air, all of our children are adopted, and we adopted 4 sons at the same time. Now it's been 20 years, I think. One of the things that impressed me was after the children came, he was so good about getting them enrolled in the Catholic school and finding one and getting them out to church. He once marched them off on a Sunday morning through a snowstorm on foot because one of them had to read that Sunday, and just getting them in all their activities. I thought, he really was going about the role of getting them raised as Catholics.
Sure. And where was that? Where did you raise
them?
Here
in Trenton.
In Trenton.
And we put them in what was then Our Lady of Divine Shepherd School.
Right.
And we joined the parish at Our Lady of Divine Shepherd, and that's where I had my RCIA training and to convert. So.
Were you part of that gospel choir too?
Yes, I am.
I tell you, I've listened to them a few times, and I'm just always enthralled by their spirit, their voices, and I always say the enthusiasm, because to me that's the Greek word means God within, and,
yes.
You can see it in the spirit that you have.
Yes.
So you adopted the 4 children at the same time?
Yes, they're brothers, and They couldn't be separated.
Yeah,
The state
that's
wanted to
great.
keep them together. We didn't intend to adopt 4 children, but we ended up getting all 4 of them after we went looking for one, basically.
God,
So,
God plays some interesting little thoughts with us, doesn't he? Huh?
yeah.
Wow. Now, how old are the children? What were the ages?
When they came to our house, they were 4.5 to 9.5.
Oh boy. Okay.
So,
So you and your husband had to roll up your sleeves a little bit,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sure that was a life-changing experience.
Yes, it was. It was.
But beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. Living as a Catholic, has that shaped your family life in many ways?
Very much so. But as I said, we educated the children in Catholic schools. Our parish activities are very much a part of our lives overall. I sort of began to notice how much the church was a part of us once back when the children were still young. And we had collectively or separately been over to the church like 4 times to take them over there, to get them, to attend an activity, to,
All in one day.
all in one day. And that's not unusual. A lot of times we're there every day for something, or were at least when they were in school. Less so now, but both my husband and I are very involved in a lot of things. As you mentioned, the choir, and both of us are readers. My husband's a trustee. We both are money counters, things like that. So it's a lot of things that we're doing all at the same time for the church at any given moment. So
As a previous pastor, I can appreciate, because we just love you people that do help, and it becomes family, doesn't it? We
Yeah, it
are a
does.
family,
It
and
does.
it's just such a nice. I think to me anyway, it's just beautiful that God's involved at the center of our lives, and children and folks like you and your husband. It does create a nice way and a nice journey. So tell me a little bit about yourself, though. You're a journalist, and how did all that start in your life?
I probably first wanted to be a journalist when I was 11 years old.
Oh,
I
gosh,
told
isn't
my
that
parents
wonderful?
that's what
Is
I was
that
going to
right?
do. I don't know where the idea came from. It could have been from reading Superman comic books, where all the figures are journalists. It could have been from the Civil Rights Movement. I'm never quite sure what put the idea in my head, except we always had newspapers in the house. My father always took us to get the newspapers, that kind of thing, on Sunday, and I stuck with it. I always liked to write, as I say, almost from the moment I could read. When I really nailed reading, then I decided I could do it too. So I wrote all the way through school and high school newspapers. I was the editor of my high school paper in West Virginia. I was on my college paper. I majored in journalism. I went to the same school that my high school journalism teacher had gone to. And I stuck with it through college, and I got a job, full-time job really, before I got out of college. I had interned at one paper in Charleston, West Virginia as a copy editor. And then the fall, when I returned, the newspaper at my college town, which is Huntington, West Virginia, I went to Marshall University, had an opening, and I had to start then. I think I went part-time, or I worked part-time and went to school full-time at first, and then when the semester changed and I could adjust my classes, I started working full-time. So I started out as a reporter, and then I worked in the Washington Bureau for the Gannett newspapers for about 5 years, and then I decided to return to graduate school at American University and got my master's. I worked for another Gannett paper, and then I returned to Washington and worked for the Huntington for the Washington Star, rather. The Huntington Advertiser was my first paper. And I went to the Louisville Courier-Journal, and then from there to the New York Times, where I worked on the national desk, and then later in the features department, and later as a recruiter administrator. Then for the last 15 years or so, I've been a freelancer. I worked a while at Essence, part-time jobs at Essence, but mostly I work for myself. I have a number of journals that I write for, or edit for, and some websites, and I edit books for individual authors and sometimes for the publishing companies. And I'm in the process of trying to incorporate a business where I do more of the same thing, but help other freelancers in editorial services, whatever, writers, photographers, graphics people, find work and help people who have projects or startups, new things, to find the editorial services that they need.
Oh, what an experience! What a background! when you were talking, what was going through my mind is this part of you at all? Isn't it from the school marshal, We Are Marshall or
Yes,
something?
We
You
Are
know,
Marshall,
I was thinking
yes.
that because you were speaking with such pride and,
Yeah.
of your you know, your lovely career and
Yeah.
even your parents and how it all got started. And then I'm saying to myself, God, she's going to start singing We Are Marshall,
Yeah.
which is, you know, it's just great stories in the world, isn't it? I mean, it's just some marvelous people. The as a host of Black Catholic Yes, tell me a little bit about that. How did that? Did you start that program?
I did not start it, although I was involved from the beginning. A group within the church, within our parish, I guess, had lobbied the radio station WIMG, which is one of the stations that it's on, to start something like this. And of course, you know, WIMG plays black gospel, but it's owned by a white Catholic family, and they were very enthusiastic about helping us get started, and we're the only real Catholic programming on their station. So it was started with Sister Loretto Evans as the host. Some of us just worked on like the advisory committee and getting this idea nailed down, what it would be and the name and whatever. And the name comes from, of course, people often don't think there are black Catholics, so it's Black Catholics. Yes, there are. And I started in November of 2000. Sister Loretto had to return to her mother house. She's with the Oblate Sisters of Providence, and she was not well at the time. So they knew that I had some radio training, and they asked me if I would take it over. So.
Terrific. So your journalism experience and the experience of the Catholic, what do you hope to, Angela, to get across to your audience when you do this? Do you interview people? Do you just speak from your heart? How
No,
does that work?
it's an interview program. We do a lot of the same subjects that you do, but all of our guests are not black, and all of our topics are not strictly black. It could be anything that we think our audience needs to know or wants to know about the church. Frequently, it's a local person who's involved in something. I just did our relatively new priest, Father Andrino, is from Brazil. We had an interview with him. We've done interviews with people from all over Africa, and I used to say just about every African bishop who's ever been in the States or archbishop has been through our show.
That's good.
Missionaries from Ireland, you know, could be somebody who has served in Africa or served in Jamaica. We did some Jamaican monks, and just a variety of things. But the idea is to educate people about what the church is and what it is not, and some of the good things that people are doing in the world under the name of the Catholic Church, which a lot of people don't know about. And a lot of our listeners are not Catholic. And you know, great many of them are Protestants, probably 90%. But, you know, I run into people all the time say, oh, I listen to your show every Sunday. I like hearing about this, that, and the other. And I think part of it is that, one, we're on at what I call rush hour after the Protestants get out of church, is about 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon on IMG. And so they're out in their cars running around. There's really not that much else to listen to, especially if they're in the habit of listening to the gospel station. And they're attracted to learning about theology through the Catholic faith because as the church that started the whole thing, there are things that they learn about the scripture or the apostles or whatever that might not be stressed in their church or whatever. So it's a variety of things. I think it's just getting exposure to things they don't know. And hearing a totally different perspective. And a lot of them say, I just never knew there were black Catholics, or they have some other interest. My mother was a Catholic, or part of our family is Catholic, something like that.
Sure. So you have a good audience and a good feedback.
Yeah.
Is it only on Sunday? Is the program just on Sunday?
On IMG, it's Sunday night. Sunday afternoon at 2:05, and then it comes on again. That night, really at 1:05 Monday morning. It's also on the station at Asbury Park, and I'm not sure the hours they're running it right now. So.
You got a lot of awards. You must be very proud of your own family and the gifts that they've given to you.
Yes.
The outstanding African American Catholic for the Diocese of Trenton.
Yes.
Gosh.
I was nominated by the bishop, of course, and told that I was getting it. That each diocese in the nation was asked to nominate somebody for this award, which is being given for the first time at the Congress. So, I was very, very pleased that they put my name forward. So,
You got to be honored. That's exceptional. Huh?
yeah.
Now you said at the Congress. Is this?
The National Black Catholic Congress met this summer in.
Do they meet every year?
No, they meet every 5 years.
Okay.
And we just met in Indianapolis this year.
What do they do when they meet like that? What are the connections back to the diocese or back to the parishes?
Eventually, they come out with a pastoral plan for evangelization and other recommendations for the church. And a lot of it is spent studying different issues and initiatives for Black Catholics to help carry out or help the church carry out.
Angela, are there in this country or other places? I'm really interested. Are there places that are more Catholic for Black families than others?
Oh, certainly. There, for many historic reasons, the first Black Catholics ever to come to this country really was in around 1693, somewhere in there. The Spanish started bringing blacks with them and would offer them freedom for conversion to the Catholic faith. This seemed like a good bargain for us. So a lot of people, the first black churches in the Americas are in Florida, St. Augustine, Florida. Then there was a period from the Haitian Revolution where people were fleeing to America, and most of them landed in Baltimore or New Orleans, which is why there's so many there today. There's a few other places that are strongly Catholic, or at least it's not that unusual. But there are, there was representation at the Congress from every place in the United States, just about. But those would be the pockets that are the biggest.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. No.
There are 2 million Black Catholics in the United States. There are, what a lot of people don't know is there's 270 million of them in the world. It's about a fourth of the Catholic Church. And particularly in Africa, it's growing. And of course, in South America and the islands, you have a lot of Black Catholics as well. I
happened to have, I'll say, a gift this past summer to go to Bermuda to take over a parish. A fellow was going on vacation, and somebody got me to go there for 10 days. But I was very impressed with some of the Black Catholics there, and they, just like you said, they seem to have been there a long time. Right. And just because I get interested in these things, I was so interested in how they still have some of the land that was probably in their family for all these years, but also the gifts that God gave them. Many of them were sailors, and they got to know how to navigate and how to bring ships into. Just amazing that, and they still have those gifts that they share. Yeah, there was some of that in like the South Carolina area and New England. There were a lot of black sailors, that sort of thing, and probably Baltimore too, I guess. I would probably imagine. Angela, the gift of getting that award, I think it was Bishop O'Connell that presented it to you or nominated you for it. Nominated me. What was, boy, you must have been thrilled to receive that award, and especially from a bishop coming to, that's marvelous. I was very, very excited. It just going up on stage to get the award, the National Black Catholic Congress that presented it was, it had 2,000 people in attendance, and it was given at the final mass for the Congress meeting, and so everybody pretty much was there. So it was just extremely exciting, and I felt very, very proud and humbled at the same time to be getting it. But it was also very interesting just seeing what other people were getting it for, and listening to the descriptions of all the things that they had done in the church. And and for me, being a convert and kind of a newcomer, it was a real thrill. So you think I'm the new kid on the block here, basically. So I was glad for that, and honored that the diocese nominated me. So. As you're talking, I'm imagining that mass, knowing that all of you are getting these awards, and I can just picture the music, just the spirit, of the Lord being there, and I'm sure there's been a little clapping, and you must have been just taken away. Yeah,
All the masses, all the rituals at the Congress are very exciting. Because you have a huge mass choir, and it's very upbeat, and you have priests and bishops and archbishops from all over the country, all over the world, really, and not just black priests or it's everybody's diocese. Not every bishop in the country is there, but a lot of them are. And just to see, sometimes to see the reaction of some of the people who are not black to this upbeat music and the clapping and the rocking and the, all that kind of stuff, and just really, really spiritual, moving songs is very, very pleasing to watch. So
it is. Oh my gosh! With your radio program, do you find that some of the topics you have, when people give you some feedback, that maybe the perception of Black Catholics changes in their mind, that they realize that we're good people and we share our gifts with each other?
Yeah, I definitely think they do. I think one, people are often surprised to find out there are any Black Catholics at all, and then they're kind of suspect as to what you might be like, and they think of us as stuffy and staid, and that we don't do all this clapping and rocking and whatever that other, and to some extent we don't, that other Protestants do. But I think, it gives people a chance to really listen and think through what the Catholic Church is about, which is universality. And that there are many kind of people who are worshiping in the same church. The disadvantage of being a Protestant in Black America is, our churches are fairly segregated from other people. That's changing a lot now that you have some of these non-denominational interracial churches. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you can be Black in America and grow up, never really having any contact with whites. Certainly not on Sunday. What Martin Luther King used to say, that was the most segregated hour in America, was 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. And I think when people learn about how the Catholics worship and just to see our church, so sometimes in our church I just like to watch people come for communion, because
Isn't
it's
that beautiful?
Every color, every size,
Beautiful.
every shape, every kind of costume. We have a lot of Africans who wear all of their regalia and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. We have Spanish-speaking people, we have French people, we have Irish people, we have a little bit of everything. Sure. So that kind of multiculturalism is very interesting to us and to the people who listen to the program. They get to hear a lot of these people's stories, and really learn about a different part of the world or a different part of life than they would.
Bishop O'Connell, as you know, is bringing us all together at a Eucharistic Congress.
Yes.
And when you mentioned the Eucharist, I don't care what church it is or where we are, and I've been around a lot of places. I mean, I just love to see the coming down the aisle with the little ones, the older ones, and some you could be 90 years old or 3 years old. It's just like a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
To me, it's you're coming to the altar of God, and
Exactly.
it's a marvelous feeling, and it's a great gift. I'm sitting here talking to you, and I love it. Your career has just got so much in it. How do you balance all of this?
Somebody said there's no such thing as balance. Well, for one thing, I haven't had to do all of it at the same time. I didn't, a lot of my career was out of the way before I had kids, and now that the kids are, gone and grown, it's a different phase of my career. But, I think it's less about balance and more about prioritizing. Church comes first, family comes first sometimes work comes first. It depends on what is the most pressing. If I'm supposed to be here at a certain amount of time, then I'm there, and I'm there all the way. And being a journalist, I think, also helped me with time management, let's say, because I've spent my entire life on deadline. So, my entire adult life. So I know, if I have to be someplace at 11:15, I'm going to be there at 11:15. I'm going to plan it so that that's what happens. If I have a story due, then I'm not going to run to the store yet, or I'm not going to be able to do this for that church committee until tomorrow. So, it's a lot about putting things in the order they need to be, and you have to really think it through. What most urgently needs done, or who needs me the most, I guess, is part of it.
Let me ask you maybe two parts of a question that I'd be interested in. What gifts does the black community have to give to us, the world, black Catholics, or however you want to put that?
Well, I think you touched on it yourself. It's the enthusiasm that we had guests just this past Sunday, and as I say, I do sing in the choir. Sometimes you can watch people's faces when we sing parts of the Mass that they may have never even heard sung, much less heard sung in gospel to a beat with drums in the background or something. We don't literally have drums yet in our church, but we have the drum sounds in the organ. But it allows people to see how you can worship in a different way, more enthusiastically, use your voice, your whole body, your whatever, and really worship God the way you're supposed to worship Him, without holding back, without feeling self-conscious, without any thought to anything else but worship. And I think that is definitely something that the African American community brings into the church. As you know, we're a merged parish, and we had basically a black church, and Blessed Sacrament was becoming less a black church, less a white church than it had been. But now we bring all these people together, and when we first brought everybody together, it's like, some people are like, what the heck are they doing? But, they've gotten used to it, and they've got,
Catchy.
Even,
The spirit.
the people who used to sing in the traditional Catholic choir sing combined with us sometimes, and one of the guys sometimes leads like a spiritual or whatever. He really gets into it. So it's, a lot of what we bring is just that joy and enthusiasm, I think.
My other part of that question would be, what can we, the Catholic Church, bring to the black community? And what gifts do we have that you think would enhance the black community to be pleasing to them?
I think the fact that the Catholic Church has given such serious study to theology and knowledge and learning, and is serious about training the priests and everybody who works in the church in a way that's more formal, perhaps, than some churches. And it has vast resources, far more so than a lot of small Protestant churches have. That those kind of things that we could help train other people, that we could let them use our facilities to bring their people in.
So we can become more brothers and sisters. And
exactly.
Angela, bless you. Thank you so much for what you've given us and your people. Marvelous. Pray with us, be blessed with us, and TV at dioceseoftrenton.org if you'd like to get in touch with us, or Angela. Know that there's a great blessing and a love of God. Thank you, Angela.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was nice.
Thank you.